Hello and welcome to another lesson of Python programming for beginners. In this lesson we will learn about range function in Python which we can use with for loop. Okay, so if we use range function with the for loop, it returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default and increments will be by 1. Okay, so by default the increments will be by 1. Okay, and if you can define a number, let's say if I say 1 to 5, if I say range up to 5, it will end at the specified number but remaining that. Okay, instead of that 1 minus. Okay, so let's say if I say up to 5, it will be 5 minus 1, that is up to 4. Okay, so let's see how we can do that, or how we can execute each and everything with the range in for loop. Okay, so this is again really very simple. If I want to loop, let's say for an example, if I want to loop up to 5, okay, so I can use that range. Okay, so again what I can say is for x in here directly I'll use the range function, so I'll say range and bracket I'll say 5. Okay, so in bracket I'll say 5 and I'll simply say print the x. Okay, so if I say like this, it will print up to 4, not 5. Okay, so by default it will start with 0. I haven't specified any start position now, so it will start from 0. Let's see the output. So as you can see, the output, it's starting from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, but it hasn't printed 5. It hasn't printed 5. Okay, so that's how it will go. Let's move ahead with another example for this. Let's say if I want to loop up to 5 again. Okay, but I want to starting from, let's say starting from 1. Okay, so I don't want to start it from, let's say 0. I don't want to start it from 1. Okay, so how I'll be able to do it. Let's say for x in range. Okay, so I'll say range up to, what I'll say, I want to say 5. Okay, I want to say 5, and from, let's say I want to start with 1. Okay, but let me do that first. Okay, so let's say print x. Okay, so if I write it now, it's exactly similar to what I have written in previously. Okay, so let's change a bit. So I want to start it from 1, so I'll specify like this. Okay, so now I am saying this 1 is, okay, this will be the start point. Okay, and this is the end point. Okay, so let's see the output now, what we get. Or let's add a simple statement now. Let me add a small print statement, a blank print statement we will use, so that we can differ between the two outputs. Okay, so let's run it now. So as you can see, the old output is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 5. Okay, but 5 is not there. Now the second time when we loop it, or when we specify the particular start position, okay, it started with 1, 2, 3 and 4, but again 5 will not be there. So always whatever the end index you are giving, or the end position you are getting, it will be -1. Okay, 5 minus 1. Okay, always the output will be like that. Okay, so hope you understand. Now if I want to increase the step, okay, let's say automatically the increment is by 1, automatically the increment is by 1, so I don't want by 1. Let's say I want to increase by 2 or 5 or whatever number. Okay, so how I'll be able to do that? Okay, so let's say I'll say step increase. Okay, so how we can do this step increase? So let's say for x in, again I'll say range. Okay, so in range now I'll specify the particular location. For an example, here we'll take an example for let's say for example. Okay, so let's say if I want to print the table of 2. Okay, so I want to print the table of 2, every time I'll have to increase by 2. Okay, so and the start position should be 2, so that's how we will start. So let's say start position is 2 and the end position will be 20. But if I say 20 again, it will not print the 20, it will go up to 19. So, and if the step increase by 2, so it will only print 18, it will not print 20. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll change it to 21, and what I want step increase as 2. Okay, so it's like this, and now I'll print that. So let's say print and we'll print x. Okay, again we will use a blank print here, so that we get a blank line there. Okay, and we can differ between the outputs. So let me run this code again. So as you can see here, the table of 2 is printed, that is 2 4. Okay, so 2 4 6 8 10 12 14 16 18 and 20. Okay, so we must use 21 here. If we haven't used 21, it would not have printed the 20. Okay, I hope you have understood this now. Okay, and let's see another thing how we can use else. Okay, so we can use else as well. So let's say using else statement in for loop. Okay, so how we can use else. Okay, so or what is the purpose of else? So let me start with the blank print first, so that we can differ. Okay, and let's print, let's say for x in I'll say, let's take a simple example, range up to 5. Okay, not more than that. And then I'll print x here. Okay, I'll print x here, but here I'll need else here. Okay, I'll print else. Okay, so I'll use the else statement, and in else, let's say let's use a simple statement, or let's say uh, for loop executed successfully. Okay, so just a simple statement, nothing else. Okay, so what happens with this else is, whenever you use else in for loop, okay, this else will be, or the statement or else will be executed, or else block will be executed only once the for loop is executed successfully. Okay, if there is any interruption in between, or is there any problem, it will not print. Okay, so that's what we face a lot of time, or we don't understand whether the for is executed successfully or not. Okay, so here in Python we have the option to use else. Once the for loop is executed successfully, the else part will be executed. If for loop is not executed successfully, else part will not be executed. So let's see the output, let's run this. Okay, so we can see that 0 1 2 3 4, and we can use for else with for as well. This is how we can simply use the range in for loop. I hope you have understood everything. See you in the next lesson.